Introducing a lineup of international award-winning and talented indie authors, only on the Writers' Corner live show. Envision a world without children's books where imagination is a dormant seed. Children's picture books plant the seeds of creativity in vibrant illustrations and engaging narratives that cultivate the fertile ground of young imaginations. So stay tuned with us to find out more about The Cutest Baby Dragon by Sally Larkin Green on the Writers' Corner live show. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome to the Writers' Corner live show, the weekly water cooler for authors and readers. Join us for 30 minutes of insightful conversation with some of the biggest names in the industry. We feature award-winning authors, New York Times and USA Today bestsellers, and even international indie sensations. Tune in and join our family-friendly community only on the Writers' Corner live show. If you're just joining us, then welcome to the Writers' Corner live show. If you are not yet following us on social media, please do, and then that way you'll get notified next time we go live. I'm Bridget Lambanda from Cape Town in South Africa, and in today's show, we're going to be talking to the amazing Sally Larkin Green. If this is your first time watching the show with us, please feel free to let us know in the comments and we'd be happy to give you a shout out. Our stream today is made possible by Creative Edge, StreamYard and Be Live Media. And a hearty warm welcome wherever you're watching us on all the different social media channels. Now, before we invite our amazing guest, Sally Larkin Green, first let me say a warm welcome to my friend and co-host, Mary Elizabeth Jackson. Mary is a passionate author and certified special needs and disabilities advocate who is committed to amplifying underrepresented voices. She's also a speaker, educator, ghostwriter, and songwriter. Mary, how are you today, my friend?
Thank you, Brigetti. I am well. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. And we're excited to be here with our friend Sally today to celebrate her new book. And thank you for that introduction.
An absolute pleasure. I tell you, every day I want to pinch myself and just say thank you that we've met each other and that we've been able to do this author show for as long as we have. And I honestly never get bored. Every time we go live, it's an adventure on its own.
Oh my God, that's an understatement.
So if you're in the audience today and you haven't yet met our amazing guest, Sally Larkin Green is the Vice President at Action Takers Publishing. And she sparks the creativity by inspiring writers. And if you haven't written a book or if you're thinking about writing a book, Sally is the person you want to reach out with. Now, she sparks creativity by inspiring writers to share their stories and globally. So no matter where you are, in which corner of the globe, reach out to Sally. She specializes in themed collaboration books and individual publications with a mission to encourage 5 million new writers. Now, as an influential speaker and founder of the Self-Care Rockstar, Sally guides clients on holistic self-care journeys, merging body wellness and spiritual growth. And with over 30 years of leadership in women's Bible studies and Sunday school teaching, she's authored 2 Bible studies and crafted online courses, showing her dedication to storytelling. But today, she's releasing her very first children's book called The Cutest Baby Dragon. And we are so excited for her because Mary and I have both written children's stories. Yes. And so it's very, very exciting for us to welcome Sally today as a children's book author. Let's invite her to come and join us, shall we?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sally.
This is so much fun, and I'm so excited to be here and to share my latest creation.
No, we're so excited to have you and to be on the children's journey with us. Because you know what, I think, I mean, we've all been in some of the collaboratives that you and Linda have done, and they're so wow, they're so powerful. But there's something so wonderful about children's books. You know, just that world. I want to stay there all the time.
It
Yeah.
is a special place indeed.
Well, I've been a children's Sunday school teacher for over 30 years, and so I've telling stories and working with children has been my whole life. I've always enjoyed working with children. I have a special connection to them, and that when I got into the book publishing, it was more on the adult side, and this has been on my heart and I've had these stories written, and I was like, the other day, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to just do some research on putting together a children's book and what it takes, and so I just did it. So it's just taking that action, right? That the action takers is all
Right.
about.
Right.
Absolutely. That's definitely taking some great action there. And we're so proud of you. Now, what inspired you to want to write this children's book? Because it's so different from what you normally do with Action Takers Publishing.
Yeah, well, I've had this poem that I wrote. Oh gosh, it's got to be probably 40 years ago. I wrote it before I even had my daughter. It was for the kids in my Sunday school, and when I was doing some research on, we've had a lot of inquiries from people who said, do you do children's books? And we've been saying no. And Linda and I were speaking. Linda's the president of the publishing company, and she said, "Why don't you do a little research on children's books? I get so many inquiries from people who want to do them." And so I started doing research, and I was like, you know what? I have this poem that I've been wanting to make a children's book, and so I took, I don't know, I think it was like a whole weekend. I went in and I taught myself how, and I went in and created this book, and I showed it to Linda, and she was like, let's release it. So, and this was just last week. So it was kind of just, it popped into my head, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And here I am.
Well, you know, Sally, that's really amazing because to do it that fast, because some of these processes take a really long time, and that's why some people don't do it. So we're really glad that you're sharing that, because we do like to share things like that with our audience and anyone who's thinking about doing these things. Okay, so the idea of a dragon, oh, I love this. Peeking through a child's bedroom window is so enchanting. So, can you share a personal childhood experience or influence that sparked the creation of this whimsical tale? Because you said you wrote it 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was, I grew up in a household, and I was the only girl. I had four brothers, and when things would happen in the house, my mother never knew who did what. Somebody broke something, and it was nobody took. Okay, yeah, that was me. And so, a lot of times I got blamed for the stuff that my brothers did. So that's kind of where this is coming from, because it's about it doesn't say if it's a boy or a girl, but it's a little kid that, a dragon comes into the house and starts doing all this stuff. And at the end, he winds up getting blamed for all the stuff that the imaginary dragon does. And so, yeah, it's cute, it's whimsical, and it's a fun imagination piece for a child.
Oh, that's amazing. So the cutest baby dragon encourages um, children to embrace their imagination and to cherish unexpected friendships. How do you believe these themes contribute to a child's overall development and understanding of the world?
Yeah, I think kids need that imagination. I think a lot of kids today grow up really fast, and we lose that imagination. Playing with our imaginary friends, or just doing anything that sparks that imagination. And I think bringing it back in a storybook, where kids can read and say, hey, you know what? It's okay if I want to make pretend. It's okay if I want to make believe that I'm going on a flight with a dragon and having fun. And sparking that imagination is what helps to, helps us to especially kids to overcome the stuff that they're going through in real life. So I that's one of the things I love about storybooks and talking to children is being able to steer them in a direction to help them to go through whatever it is they're going through and to have that imagination that they're able to use and continue to use as they go forward. And I think for adults too, reading it, it's kind of fun.
Yes, because it takes us back to being a child, and it helps us to embrace that childlike part of ourselves that we forget when we get to be too much of an adult with all the responsibilities, you know.
Right.
So the dragon in your book leaves a trail of mystery and excitement, which is very fun. Were there, did you have anything in your life, any real life experiences that sort of helped you, create that part of that part of the story or inspired it in your own life?
Yeah, it's funny. I try to think back to my childhood. I don't remember a lot of it, but I always had a creative mind. I always had an imagination. I always um, enjoyed making up stories, telling stories, and so that's been part of who I am for forever. When I was younger, I was the oldest in my mother had 9 brothers and sisters, and I was the oldest grandchild. And so and I was the oldest in my family of 4 brothers, and so there was my grandmother had, I don't know, 23 grandchildren. And being the oldest, I was always the one babysitting, especially when I got to be a teenager. And so sitting and making up silly songs with them and I remember sitting in the living room with my grandma at my grandmother's with all my cousins and brothers around and making up silly stupid songs with them and doing that. And it just it's always been part of who I am is working with kids, sparking that imagination, telling stories, making up stories, and having that imagination come to life in the eyes of a child.
And talking about making things come to life in the eyes of a child, illustrations play such a vital role in capturing their imagination. Can you tell us a little bit about the collaboration with your book illustrator and the creative process behind bringing the characters to life? And can you actually hold up the book, because I think it's
Sure.
fantastic?
Yeah. So this is the book. Let me see. I get it here. Yeah, and it's got. Well, I'll tell you what. I did the illustrations. I mean,
Wow.
this is all done on Canva, um, and so it's all um, it's all just
Amazing.
yeah, and I just had fun with it. I've always enjoyed uh, working with you know art. I'm an artist, so this kind of stuff just makes me happy doing that stuff. So I was just able to go in, and that was one of the when I was doing the research, they showed how to create a children's book on Canvas. So I was like, I'm just going to go in there and do some, figure it out and do some stuff. And a lot of them are just like royalty free images. And so I just put them in the right place and made it look nice and figured out, what picture went with what um, my story and how I wanted my story and the pictures to flow. And so
And
that was my creative process.
I think you did a really great job. And sometimes people sit, I mean, you said you sat on this poem for a number of years, and sometimes we tend to sit on things for a long time. I must say, being an author was never kind of a dream for me. But we all have lots and lots of stories in us. But it was my grandson, just watching him that sort of catapulted me in wanting to become a children's author. And I think what you and Linda have done with Action Takers is just groundbreaking and phenomenal. And the dream of wanting to inspire 5 million new writers, I think, is just absolutely, absolutely awesome. And the fact that you've segued from what you normally do into children's books, I think, is going to inspire so many other people to take that leap of faith and jump into something that they can create for their own families, their own children. Writing a story for somebody in your family. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. But now, as the founder of the Self-Care Rockstar, I want to just weave that in a little bit. How do the principles of self-care weave into the narrative of the cutest baby dragon? And what message do you hope that young readers will take away from it?
Well, I mean, I think that the self-care part comes from me sitting down to actually write and create the book. As a mom, taking that time away from what I'm doing to be creative is huge, and that's my self-care piece. Doing the art, doing the sitting down and writing and creating the whole book was my whole self-care piece, because that made me that took me away from what I was doing, away from life, so to speak. Art kind of does that. Anytime you're creating and creative, it takes you away. Puts you in the moment, right? It puts you in exactly where you are, and you get so caught up in what you're doing. And that's the self-care part, right? Taking care of you as you're going through life. So yeah, the whole creation of this was my self-care piece. It was, me getting away from everything that I'm, you know, everything that I'm going through to sit down and write a book and create a book. And so that creation, and then just knowing that children are going to read this, parents and grandparents are going to read this to their children, and the hopefully that they'll enjoy it and want to continue reading it and want to share it with others.
From start to finish, how long did it take you to actually write that book, to get it up on Amazon?
It was probably, I mean, you want hours, probably 12, 15 hours. I think I worked on it 3 or 4 days. The last day was last Wednesday. I did the whole thing, finished it all up. And I was up till probably 1, 2 in the morning. I tend to do those things. Just making, doing it, uploading it to Amazon, having Amazon reject it, go back to the drawing board, fix it, put it back. So it was a lot of learning curve for me and figuring out what exactly needed to be done. And I mean, that night was probably 6, 7 hours that I took from to just get it uploaded and ready. Once I uploaded it and Amazon approved it, it was ready in 2 days, which surprised me.
That is wonderful to be able to do that. It doesn't seem like long, but it is a lot of hours to put in, but it's beautiful. And so writing for children requires a unique approach, we know, because you have to kind of come from the view of of a child, not, that's always been my thing, not to write as an adult.
Right.
How do you adapt your writing style and storytelling techniques to resonate with a younger audience while still delivering a meaningful message? Now, I know you've had practice, especially being, in with children and teaching Sunday school. So you've had a lot of practice, but can you give us a little bit of clue and some advice there?
Yeah, I think just connecting with the child, and just being able to go back to your own childhood and think about what it was like. like I said, I've always loved working with children. We did, the most of the kids that I taught were toddlers and, up to like kindergarten, first, second grade. And, it's always fun. I love working with them, getting them, sitting them down, telling them stories, getting them to engage in stuff. And kids like engagement. They don't like to just sit and listen. So doing like little hand motions, especially like if you're doing songs or having books in it that have action in them is really important, especially for the younger ones. So it's just, I guess it's just living and learning and learning what children like. And for me, it just comes it comes natural. It's part of who I am right from probably out of the womb. I've always um, loved working with and being with children and kids.
Had a lot of
If you,
training.
I know you've just published the book, and again, congratulations on the Cutest Baby Dragon. But if you were to write a sequel, I don't know if that's even a thought, where do you envision the adventurous journey taking the curious child and their newfound dragon friend, and what life lessons could they be encountering along the way?
Yeah, in fact, I've been thinking now that, and that wasn't even like in here, but now that just yesterday I was sitting here and I was going through it because it just came in the mail, and I said, oh, you know what, if I did like a part two, maybe the cutest baby dragon goes to school, or the cutest baby dragon, goes to the playground or meets, having the child take the dragon with him in different places, going to grandma's or something like that. So, I mean, it's not something that I've thought about, sat down and really thought about, but there are a lot of different places that I can go with it where, the dragon follows him and gets him into trouble, So, um, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Do you think that you and Linda will now maybe publish children's books? Because I know that's a question I had for her I want to say a year ago, last summer, maybe even a year from this past summer. And at that point, you guys were not. But do you think you might add a children's section now to the publishing company?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, because she was like, you inspired me. She's like, no, I want to write a children's book.
I saw her
You
post
show
about
her.
that. Yeah.
So I said, well, maybe we do a course in teaching people, what I learned, and sitting down and having them write the story, do the storyboard, the images on the image board, and do a little course, or helping people to self-publish or publish the books themselves. Because I mean, I'm pretty tech savvy, so it comes kind of easily for me, but I know other people aren't. So maybe either doing it for them or helping them to do it themselves. Um, and Amazon does such a great job with these, and they look so cute. And so
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, it's a really cute cute thing to put together, and for the kids to have.
Absolutely.
Really such a fun book, and I think having a course on putting a children's book together and self-publishing is is really a great idea. I mean, for me, it was a huge learning curve as well. I'd never done it. And it's not that I want to, turn this into a way to make a living or anything, but I think just going through the entire process of writing the book, having the images, publishing it on Amazon, I really enjoyed learning that process. I also learned what mistakes I made, same
Exactly.
as you, and you go back and you correct that. But it's great when you make mistakes, because from great mistakes comes great learning and great education, and it's fun because you're learning something completely different. And it's exciting. So I'm really chuffed at the idea that this is something that Action Takers Publishing may consider doing.
Yeah. We probably will be in the future. So, yeah, be looking out for it.
That'll be exciting. Yes. Okay, we're having Sally read for us.
Absolutely. You know what? I'll just read it's short, so I'm just going to read it for you.
Yes, please.
I thought I saw a dragon, in my window he did peer, but when I took a closer look, I watched him disappear. Then suddenly I heard a sound and turned around to see the cutest baby dragon in my bedroom next to me. He didn't say a single word, but played with all my toys. He never thought to put them back. He made a lot of noise. He wandered all around the house and turned on all the lights. He found a bag of donuts and from each one took a bite. He walked into the kitchen and ate up all my lunch, left dirty dishes on the table, and drank my glass of punch. Then suddenly he disappeared as quickly as he came. When Mommy saw the mess he made, it was me who took the blame. That night I heard a gentle tap and opened my eyes to see the cutest baby dragon smiling brightly back at me. He reached out with his scaly claw to join him in the sky, so off we flew above the clouds, the dragon, moon, and I. When morning came, he waved goodbye and hugged me with delight, and the cutest baby dragon vanished out of sight.
Oh, so cute. So cute. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I'll get a copy and then I'll go do a TikTok about it. So it's
Thank
really,
you so much.
really precious, really precious.
Congratulations on that. Sally, won't you hold up the cover again? I think it's absolutely delightful. And you know, is purple your favorite color? How did you decide on the
I've
color?
always, I've always loved purple, and when I saw this little dragon here, I was like, oh, it's so adorable. So that's the one I want in my book, and so, um, and like I said, I just put him in all different situations, and was able to there's the donuts with the bites taken out of and turning on all the lights. So yeah, getting blamed for the stuff that the dragon did.
Now, what
It's
program
great.
it is adorable. What program did you use for your photos for the book?
It was just all on Canva.
Okay. Canva is amazing.
Oh my gosh. And I didn't even realize that they had like a whole like cartoon section of it where you could do like the cartoon backgrounds and the cartoon characters and stuff that were all royalty free.
Amazing.
So that was something I learned.
Wow. Well, again, congratulations. And thank you for introducing your book to us here on the Writers Corner live show. You know, we're delighted to have you as our guest today. So thank you so much, Sally. And so the book is available on Amazon. Is it available in both Kindle and print?
It's right now it's just print. And I'm working on the Kindle version. That's got to be formatted in a totally different way. So that's something that I'm working on. So maybe in a couple of weeks I'll have that ready to go out in the Kindle. But right now it's just the paperback.
Well, congratulations again. It's an awesome, awesome book. And that cover is just so gorgeous, so gorgeous. And I love, was there any thought into the glossy cover? Because the gloss just kind of makes the book.
You know, most of the books that we've done through Action Takers, we've used the matte cover. I thought when I uploaded this, I was like, you know what, for a kid's book, I really want the gloss because I think the kids like that shine and that sheen. The only thing is when I hold it up, you can see the reflections and stuff. But yeah, I really liked the glossy cover, and so that was the one I chose.
It's gorgeous. Sally, thank you so much for coming to release your book on the Writers Corner live show and just to give us some of the backstory and insights into the book creation. And we look forward to the next one. And we definitely would love to have you back on the show again. So thank you so much for joining us on the Writers Corner live show today. And we'd love you and Linda to come back anytime. You know that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, people can go over to thecutestbabydragon.com and get their copy.
Yay. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Sally.
Bye.
Thank you, Sally. We'll chat to you soon.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. That was awesome.
That was wonderful. I love it. The story is absolutely just precious. Precious, precious.
Yes, it is. Now we've got a special announcement before we say goodbye to everyone today. Do you want to tell everyone what our news is?
I know, we're so excited. So we're going to be joining Bernard streaming network, and it's on our Mike TV, which is on, you can find it on Roku. And so we are actually going to be up on Roku, and we're going to be on let's see, Amazon Fire and Google TV. We're taking our show onto streaming that way. We're so excited. Now we're going to continue on social network, but we're adding that part of our show. We are just so thrilled to be a part of his network. And it's really an adventure for us, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Yes, definitely opening up new avenues. And what excites me the most about going onto these streaming networks is that we can give our authors on the show so much more exposure. And I'm delighted about, because that's why we started the show in the first place, was exposure for authors. And just knowing that we can now get them onto mainstream channels just blows my mind, and I'm very excited.
Me too. I think in 5.5 years of doing this, I've met one author that was very introverted and did not want to come on and talk about their book. But I think pretty much 100% of authors want to come and talk about their book, whether it's live stream or podcasting and audio only. Who doesn't want to talk about their book? It's just, there's so much investment of you that goes into the book that you have written, that you have created. Why not celebrate it and find places to celebrate it? So that's why we started this together. And this journey's been a long way. And we met some very, very fabulous people along this journey, just some of the nicest people, and amazing stories and journeys that we get to share with others. And it makes all of this really worth doing every Tuesday.
It absolutely does. Well, it was wonderful joining all of you again today on the Writers' Corner live show. And until next week, we want to say goodbye, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Writers' Corner live show. Bye for now.
Everybody.
Thank you for joining us on the Writers' Corner live show. 30 minutes of insightful author conversations with some of the biggest names in the industry, including award-winning authors and international indie sensations. Join us on the next episode of the Writers' Corner live show.